Hello everyone, how are you? I'm today to do a process video of my latest junk journal I've made. As you can see here, I've got an empty box and it's from one of the kids' little Scooby-Doo snacky treat things, and I'm cutting the top and bottom flaps off the box. And I'm also cutting down the side that has the join of the box. And now I am going to use the glue stick and put a brown paper bag over it. I do this just to cover up any of the markings or the colours or what have you on the cover, so that when if I put a thin piece of actual cover over it, like the pattern paper, that the underside won't show through. So I've cut the brown paper bag down to fit, and I'm just using the glue stick to glue the brown paper bag to the cardboard cover. And I'm doing that all around the edge. And I will leave that, I normally leave that overnight when I use the wet glue. I'll leave it overnight so that it dries completely. And I've decided to put some patterned paper with feathers on the outside, seeing as though I'm going to theme this book about birds. And I'm having to stick together two 12 by 12 sheets of the pattern paper, because this cover is actually a bit longer than what I normally use. Just cutting it down to fit. And now I'll go and put some double-sided tape on the spine and on the front and the back. And when I go to glue it onto the pattern paper, I'll just make sure that where I've joined those two 12 by 12 sheets, that it'll be roughly in the center of the spine. So I'm just finishing up now, putting the double-sided tape on and just giving it all a good burnish down with the bone folder. And here I am just taking off the back of the double-sided sticky tape, and I'm going to use some tacky glue and putting the tacky glue all over the cover, and then just pressing it down nice and firmly onto the pattern paper. And now I'm just going around diagonally cutting off the corners so that I can fold those flaps over. And here I use the double-sided tape as well as the tacky glue. I was given some bird pictures quite a couple of years ago, and and I've decided to finally use them in a project. And they're all Australian birds. They're just lovely. And I will do a separate showing of the journal other than this process one. So now I'm going around just adding a little bit of the tacky glue with the double-sided tape and folding the edges over. And I'll also leave this overnight so that I know it's dried properly. So here you see me, I've got my Sam and Lucy cutter, and with some of the pictures I'm actually cutting them down to use them for pockets, and some have got a little border around them, which makes it easier for me to just fussy cut around. And some of the pictures of the birds I'm actually just going to circle around, just fussy cut around it. So I've decided to leave this viewing in, because this just shows you one of the other processes that I go to when I'm actually getting a junk journal ready. I've already gone and got out the pages for the signatures. This journal's going to have 3 signatures in it, and I've already gone through and collected my papers for that, and this is just actually showing you me just tidying up the pictures of the birds so that I can use that for either pockets or tuck spots, or just to stick on, just as a picture to stick on. Just having a bit of a tidy up, and I've started working on the first signature, and I've decided to use the vintage ink and ink around the edges of the pictures, as well as ink around the edges of the pages in this journal. And here I am putting a pocket onto the front, and I'm going through the pictures, and this one's going to be a little tuck spot, and I'm just using the tacky glue to do this. And trimming down where I have to, and inking up the edges. So you'll only be seeing me just go through this first signature, because the other 2 were pretty much the same. Excuse me. So that was going to be a little bottom pocket. This is going to be a little tuck spot down the bottom. and I'm just trimming up the picture so that it'll fit on the front of the pocket on the envelope. Just having a look to see what picture I'd like to put on that side. Yep, nearly forgot to ink that edge up. I think I've done that 3 or 4 times. It happens. I think some days it can take me about 3 or 4 hours to completely make a journal, junk journal, from start to finish, and then other days I'll start and it might just sit around my craft space for a good couple of weeks before I actually get round to finishing it or doing any more on it. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the process. Sorry, that's my phone going off. And here I'm trying to find another picture that I can just stick on the back side of that card while I also have a quick drink of my coffee. And also trimming up some papers as I go along. So that's the first signature with some pockets and tuck spots in it. And I'm just going through and checking to see if I want to put any more in before I actually finish that signature, which I did. I put one more in there. And I've decided to put another one just here. And adding another big pocket on this page as well. Okay, so that's the first signature done. Now I'm back to working on the cover, and I'm just using my Crop-A-Dile to poke some holes in for a closure and also put a couple of those eyelets in. And I've decided to use the closure with some ribbon. So I'm going to be sticking the ribbon down with some tacky glue on the inside of the cover. And this is going to be the cover for the inside. So what I'm doing here, I've cut a little piece just to go over the inside of the spine, and I'm just thinking that it just strengthens up the spine a little bit, because that box, it wasn't really flimsy, but it's quite bendable. Is that a word, bendable? It's quite bendy. So I'm putting some double-sided tape down and peeling the back of it off. And then using the tacky glue and putting that down in the center of the inside. It'll just give it a bit more reinforcement too when I actually sew the signatures in. And I don't have much of this paper left, so I've got one piece for the front inside cover. Just measuring it up. And going to cut it down so that it just fits snugly on the inside front of the cover. And then for the back inside, I was kind of trying to decide what to use, but then I thought if I kind of like match the papers up, I could make a little pocket, even though there wasn't enough for just one full sheet of it. So the first one I've got down doesn't really quite go to the end, so I've layered another piece on top of it, and I'm going to make it into a pocket for the back inside. Just inking up around the edges. And I'm going to glue the front part of the pocket down first, so that I get the measurement right for it. Yep, looks good. So now I'm going to use the double-sided tape Got a very windy day here, so I'm sorry if you're hearing little banging noises in the background. Oh, and before I put the front and the back cover down, I just thought I might reinforce just where that ribbon is, so that, you know, if the ribbon gets pulled a bit, it won't rip the inside cover up. So I just grabbed some masking tape and I put that straight down as close to or over the hole of the eyelet as I could. And now I'm gluing down the back cover. And now I'm doing the same for the front. I've got some masking tape and I'm just placing it down over the eyelet hole. And then I'll be sticking down the front inside cover. And now using a bit of the tacky glue, I think the tacky glue on top of the double-sided tape, it helps a great deal. If you put it down crooked, it gives you, you know, a few seconds to pull it back up safely without ripping anything. So here I've cut out, I just drawn a couple of little whimsical birds and I've cut them out and I'm just placing them down just for a bit of decoration on the inside front cover and drawing on some legs with the Sharpie marker. And I'm doing the same for the back cover, just a little whimsical bird. I think it's just I like to add a little personal touch to my journals. And just going around outlining the birds. And as you can see here, I'm actually hand circling the corners. I'm snipping off the corner. I do have a corner punch, but I broke it. The spring in it just, I don't know, it just completely snapped somehow. So I really wanted this book, this journal, to have the rounded inside pages. So this is just another process for me to, I'm just going around and fussy cutting the corners off the pages and then I'm inking the pages as I go along. Plus there I've just seen that I would like to put another pocket on there, so I've grabbed another picture of a bird and put that on. It's really not a hard thing to do. Like, once you get into the rhythm of it, of cutting the edges off and just rounding the corners, it's pretty easy. So I've got all my signatures ready to be sewn in now. And here I am, I'm just measuring up where I want to place them all. And I always make myself a little template so that all the signatures will have the same hole distance. And here I'm measuring up the hole distance for the spine and using my awl just to push down to put a hole where each signature will be sewn into. Now I'm just making sure that I have all the pages together, and I have jumped up to grab an old telephone book, and I'm going to put the pages inside the crease on the telephone book, and then I'm just going to use that as a guide to, well, it's not really punching the holes out, it's pushing the holes through the signatures. I think I can get a little bit lazy sometimes, like I could have put clamps on the pages and done it that way. But I just think that when you've made enough junk journals, you just you fall into an ease of doing it your own way. So this is the last signature to punch the holes in, put the holes in. So now I'm ready to actually start sewing in, and I am looking for my crochet wool, which was actually sitting right beside me. I didn't have to look very far. And when I go to sew the signatures in, I always go from the last signature and then the middle and then the front one when I'm sewing. And it's just a very easy pamphlet stitch. It's like starting from the back of the spine, I go in, then down in through the middle and back out, and then back in through the bottom of the spine. This actually did give me a little bit of trouble. I think it was getting a bit late at night. And then I'll go back through the centre, back through the centre hole, and then I'll tie it off. And this is where you need 3 hands. Okay, so that's the first signature sewn in, but it's actually the last signature of the book. And there you have it. I have the 3 signatures sewn in the book, which I done off camera. And I've decided to add a little bit of crocheted lace to the spine. So I'm just using my tacky glue, and I'm gluing that down on the spine and just having a little bit hang at the front. And I'll let that dry overnight. So I hope you enjoyed my process. I will have a video up soon of a flip through for it. You all have a good day. Bye.